What makes a great horror movie?
Kind of depends on what kind of horror movie. Because the horror movies I've made have kind of been popcorn horror, where it's kind of a ride, which is very satisfying to see with an audience, because they're sort of, you get that like cheering when the right person dies, or when they get away, or like laughing and people like jumping and then laugh about jumping. So in those, in movies like that, it's very much about sort of the ride, the scares. And I think in general, just for horror movies, sound is super important, and timing. Because a lot of people don't, or some horror directors, they don't take their time with sort of the creepiness and the scares. Because you can make anyone jump, like if you just have a loud, sudden noise. But it's that Hitchcock thing with the bomb underneath the table. Like, yeah, if it suddenly explodes, people are going to go, oh shit. But if they know that it's something that's gonna happen, but they don't know when, and like that's when you're sitting there at the edge of your seat. And I think that's one thing that worked really well with Lights Out, just the short, was that we start right off with a big scare. The thing just comes closer. And then we've scared people. Now they know what to expect, that, okay, anything can just jump at us at any moment. And then that makes, just her hiding under the bed and hearing little things, that makes that much more effective, because then you've set the precedent. But then there's horror movies that, again, that are more sort of art house, like Hereditary or The Witch or things like that, where it's, less about scares and a ride, and it's more about being unsettling and really like staying with you. And then that's, other means of achieving that. But I still think, again, sound is super important. And I think that's why, David Lynch has made some of this. He's not a horror director, but he still made some of the scariest stuff out there. And he's someone that makes his own sound. Like, he's very much into that. I think sound and timing and things like that are important. And what I try to do is always just make it as bad for the characters as possible. That continuous sort of escalation of just getting worse and worse and worse. Like in Annabelle Creation, there's that girl who, she runs into a barn and then she gets trapped in there. It's like, oh shit. And then there's a scarecrow in there that starts to come alive. It's like, oh shit, this is even worse. Like, how could it get even worse? Well, now the lights are starting to go out. Now I'm going to be here in the dark with the thing. So it's just like that continuous escalation of to just make it worse and worse for your characters.
But you used to use a lot of your own sort of DIY things or whatever you had handy when you were making films, short films back in Sweden. What were some of those things you would use for sound effects that were just like these inexpensive?
Well, in our apartment, we were blessed with very creaky floors, which was great. I have a whole library just recorded of me sort of creaking around on those floors. And then, just trying to find good sounds and like recording just the air, the ventilation system, like slowing that down, and you have this sort of dark drone that you can keep in the background of horror things. That's really effective. For DIY things, we did little lights ourselves. Like I did this bucket light from an IKEA trash can, and whatever we could do. I mean, a lot of it would be based on things that I would see in behind the scenes of proper movies. Like, oh, how can I make a low budget version of that? Which still sort of stays in my head, because I remember on Annabelle Creation, they had these quasar lights, which are basically like light tubes or whatever that are kind of expensive or whatever. But just watching that, I was like, ooh, I could have used that. Like, I could have used just regular light tubes, but put them in the same way and done that in a short film,